A quick tutorial to understand the Pokemon trading card game. Pokemon have health points and attacks that deal damage. When a Pokemon has no health left, it is knocked out. At the beginning of the game, each player puts out 6 prize cards. When you knock out an opponent's Pokemon, you take one of your prize cards, and when you've taken them all, you win! Pokemon start out as basics like Ralts here, and can evolve as much as twice into a Stage 1 and then a Stage 2 Pokemon. A Pokemon must have been out on the field at its current stage for a turn before it can evolve to the next one. To use an attack, a Pokemon requires the necessary energy cards. If an attack requires a specific type, like Psychic, only Psychic energy will work, but any energy can fulfill a colorless requirement. You can attack once with your active Pokemon every turn, after which your turn ends. You can attach one energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon every turn. Some Pokemon have abilities that allow them to use effects outside of attacking. Trainer cards let you use effects to support your Pokemon. There are 4 major types: items, supporters, stadiums, and tools. Items have minor effects, and as many as you like can be used during your turn. Supporters have major effects, but only one can be used each turn. Stadiums have mutual effects that will affect both players. Only one can be out on the field at a time, and playing a new one will replace the current one. Tools work similarly to item cards, but are attached directly to your Pokemon to give them extra effects. You can play as many tool cards as you want each turn, but you cannot attach one to a Pokemon that already has one on. Those are the basics of the game. This deck uses Gardevoir EX's Psychic Embrace ability to attach Psychic energies from the discard pile to your Psychic Pokemon at the cost of putting 2 damage counters on that Pokemon for each energy. This allows you to use powerful attacks that require tons of energy to be effective. The Gardevoir line has access to great draw abilities that help the deck set up and keep it resistant to disruption. The main attacker is the non-EX Gardevoir, but there are many supporting attacker options to hit Pokemon on your opponent's bench. Hopefully that was everything you needed to understand what's going on in this video. If you're curious about any of the cards I was playing, I'll have the deck list in the description, and feel free to leave a comment if you had any questions. Thanks for watching. Alright, here we go. This is the magic win. Alright, so we hit the mulligan, we didn't get any basics. This here Turo scenario, put one of your Pokemon in play into your hand. It's there to like prevent a knockout that would end the game, or there's some decks that, like, if the Greninja is on my bench, they can just lock me out of being able to do anything by making it impossible to retreat. Because it's a water type, I can't attach Psychic to it with the Refinement Gardevoir. So it's nice to be able to have this to be able to put it back in my hand. But it's like a tech situational card. It just makes it so that locked decks have a harder time locking you. So we're up against a Lost Box deck. And what this deck does is it utilizes the Lost Zone, which is the remove from play pile. Flower selecting once per turn. If this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may look at top 2 cards of your deck and put one of them into your hand, the other goes in the Lost Zone. And then you have cards that care if you have cards in the Lost Zone. So this Cramorant, for example, if you have 4 or more cards in the Lost Zone, ignore all energy in this Pokemon's attack costs. So instead of requiring 2 water and a colorless to deal 110, it costs nothing. And it's pretty easy for them to get the 4 cards in the Lost Zone. The Lost Zone is this little like pile, right? This little like pit right there. So yeah, once they have 4 in there, they can start attacking with the Cramorant for nothing. But the big payoff is Sableye, which I believe requires 10? Forget if it requires 8 or 10, honestly. I feel like I should know better because it's like half my opponents are Lost Box. No energy in hand yet, so we'll just do that. Pretty unfortunate going second hand because we don't have a supporter we can play, but it's a really nice going second hand because we have 2 VIP pass. So when to play the Jirachi is tough, and whether or not I need to play Manaphy at all is tough. But they haven't got Greninja out yet. They also, yeah, they've played Nest Ball. They could have found it. So I'm gonna assume I don't need Manaphy. We'll just get that and Jirachi for now, I guess. So my opponent can do 2 things to me that are really annoying. So the first one is the Sableye places 12 damage counters wherever my opponent wants. So if I have a bunch of these like little squibby guys out, they can take multiple prizes in a turn that way. And so that's where the Jirachi comes in handy. So it prevents those damage counters from being placed. But they also have the Greninja that I've been using for, oh, they have a fire energy. They probably don't have Greninja then. The Greninja also has an attack that I can't use because I don't have any water energy, but this deck can. And it does 90 damage to 2 Pokemon. There's a lost, so here's the Sableye, and it is 10. Yeah, they need 10, and then they can put 12 counters however they want on my guys. But they have an item that if they have 7 cards in the Lost Zone, it lets them search their deck for 2 basic energy cards and attach them to their Pokemon in any way they like. It might be 2 different energies, I forget. But anyways, they get 2 energies out of their deck that way, put them on the Greninja, and then they attach one from their hand. And if I still on Ralts or Kirlia, the 90 damage knocks out 2 of my Pokemon, gets them 2 prizes and puts me like way too far behind to recover, because I need to like build up my Ralts and Kirlia again in order to get to Gardevoir. So that's where the Manaphy comes in. The Manaphy has a very similar effect as the Jirachi. It prevents damage from being dealt to your benched Pokemon. Jirachi prevents them from being placed on your benched Pokemon. And you only have so much board space. So you need enough bench space to have all of the Ralts and Kirlia and Gardevoir that you need in order to have the deck function. And then you also need to devote board space to these 2 tech things if they're both needed in the same matchup. And then you're also limited on whether you can be using your Cresselia or your Screamtail or your Greninja to support all of your other stuff. So like bench space starts to get a little crazy. But because they have the fire energy in their deck, they're probably running a Radiant Charizard list, not a Radiant Greninja list. You can only have 1 Radiant Pokemon. So if they have Radiant Charizard, it means they don't have Radiant Greninja. And as soon as you see the fire energy, you can assume that it's the Charizard list. So ideally, this is almost certainly not going to happen, but ideally I would get a Rare Candy and a Gardevoir this turn to be able to start like using Cresselia to pick stuff off, but that's not happening. So we're gonna fall a little bit farther behind on prizes. How these games typically end up going for me is, I guess I'll bench the Cresselia. It might not work out, but I'll do it. I tend to be behind against the Lost Box until later on when they run out of cards and I Iono them down to 2 or 1 cards and they can't do anything for a couple turns, and that's how I come back and win this game. So we'll see what we can do here. But yeah, they're gonna get another easy knockout on my Mew at least. Hopefully they don't Boss's Orders up one of my Kirlia or Ralts and take that out. Jirachi I don't mind too much. I would just super rot it back and try to get it back out with a search card. If they knock out a Kirlia or a Ralts, that's another Kirlia or Ralts I have to set up. And another turn I have to wait until they become something better. Right, yeah, that worked out. So the thing about the Jirachi is it doesn't prevent damage from being placed on the active, so I could try to like Boss's Orders that up and knock it out, but I don't think I'm going to worry about it. I think what I'm going to do is send up this Kirlia and Avery so that they have to discard down to 3 Pokemon, and then they have to choose between their Comfy and their Jirachi. Actually, let's see. So they've got 8 total things in the... They still need to get 2 more in. So I actually don't think that that's that inconvenient for them. They're gonna get 2 more lost things. You're a Sableye fan? Sableye is like so good in Pokemon so consistently. There have been so many banger Sableyes over the years. There was a Sableye that was so strong they rotated a format early. The first time they rotated a format not after Worlds was because of the way one of the Sableye from the Diamond and Pearl era was interacting with the cards in the Black and White era. But yeah, okay, so we're good. No, ideally I would kill that Sableye actually. We do still have Screamtail in the deck, but I don't think I'm going to worry about it. I think I'm going to just evolve into this Gardevoir and knock out this Cramorant the old-fashioned way. Alright, so yeah, I'm pretty happy. Pretty happy with my situation here. I do not need Manaphy at all because they're the Charizard list, not the Greninja list. So we'll just go ahead and toss that. Attach that up there. And then wonder if it's worth... I guess if they end up knocking out this Kirlia, it means I still have a powered up Gardevoir, so it's not super sad. But I'll also go ahead and put this back in. That might have been premature, actually. Yeah, so now there's not a lot they can do to prevent me from staying set up. These decks typically only run the one Cram right now, so the fact that it's knocked out means they probably can't just bring up another one, and the fact that I didn't have to deal any damage counters to the Gardevoir to be able to attack means that there's not a lot they can do to knock it out in one hit anyway. What is Gardevoir ability? So it's look at the top 2 cards of your deck. This one's ability is look at the top 2 cards of your deck, and you can attach any of the basic energies you find there to your Pokemon in any way you like, and put the other ones in your hand. And then this one lets you take all the psychic energy you want out of your discard pile and attach them to your psychic Pokemon by putting 2 damage counters on the psychic Pokemon you attach them to for each psychic energy you attach. See, they are now at 10, so everything's active. Anything that requires them to have cards in the Lost Zone is now active. They can go search for energy, they can place the damage counters. Size Shadow, except for the discard pile and forever. Yeah, there was an ancient Gardevoir that like it would search your deck for a psychic energy and attach it to one of your guys and deal 2 damage counters once per turn per Gardevoir. And now it's like infinite attachments from the discard pile. Yeah. The trick is getting all the psychic energy in the discard pile in the first place in order to be able to power them up like that. But yeah. So here's the Mirage Gate. So you can only use it if you have 7 or more cards in the Lost Zone. Search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards of different types, and I hate that it does this. And attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like, then shuffle your deck. Alright, so because I have the Jirachi out, they have to put all 120 damage on my active, which is fine-ish. I guess the Gardevoir is just going to knock that out. I'm in a position to where there's like not a lot of pressure on me to do anything. So like I'm not like super sure what I'm even supposed to do. I guess I'm gonna Iono them. Yeah, that sounds good. I don't have a Rare Candy in my hand, or else I'd like maybe Rare Candy into Gardevoir EX, but I don't see a lot of reason to do that. I feel kind of invulnerable, to be honest. Like I don't think it's gonna backfire on me to play this, and that way I have it out. I don't have to search for it if I need it. But yeah, we'll Iono. So they've taken 2 prizes, so they're going to 4 cards in hand. I'm going to 5. Collapse the damage Gardevoir. I could do that. I'm not super worried about it, I guess. But yeah, I could have retreated and then played Collapse to get rid of my damaged Gardevoir. That was probably a really good play, honestly. I think you might have been onto something. So the Collapsed Stadium makes me go from 5 bench Pokemon to 4 bench Pokemon. Makes both players do it. So I could have chosen this one to go to the discard pile. My opponent looks like they're in hot water. As long as the Jirachi's out, I'm like not super concerned. So the Radiant Charizard, what it does is for each prize card I've taken, their Charizard requires less energy to attack. It does 250 damage. I think it starts off with 5 total energy it needs. It's a fire and 4 colorless. And so if I've taken 4 prizes, it only costs them a fire energy to attack for 250. Alright, here's the Cramorant. Can they get it active? Probably. They usually run like an absolute ton of switches and stuff. They also have like this jet energy that lets them move a bench to the active. The matchup becomes super not fun for them when your Jirachi hits the board. Yeah, we went to a tournament the other day, and that was like my first experience really playing with the Jirachi in this deck. And comparing it to my experience at the regionals I went to not long ago, where these matchups were so like intense, it felt so cheesy. Like you just don't have to think about the Sableye anymore. You just put the Jirachi out, and it's like, all right, it can damage the active only. But yeah, you just have to think about like what can the Sableye do, and you have to like super rely on Cresselia to move your guys out of range and stuff like that. So I will say the matchup has become a little less interesting since then. So I think my Marshy plan, Psychic, okay. I think my Marshy plan here is to boss's orders up my opponent's Sableye. I don't know how much Jirachi matters at this point, but we'll Psychic Embrace onto our guys here. Their Jirachi only defends their benched Pokemon from having damage placed on them. So we're gonna spread 20 damage out to each of my friends here, so that there's 80 total on the field, and then the Cresselia lets me take 20 from each of them and put them on one of my opponents, and I have to choose the active if I want it to stick. Then I guess I'll do this. But yeah, then it's going to be tough for them to come up with a counter knockout, because this has 120 HP and that only deals 110. Just trying to decide if there's anything else I want to do here. I think the answer is no. Okay. Here we go. See you later, Sableye. See you later, Sableye. This is the part of the game where the Ionos start to get super devastating for the Lost Box players, because they don't have anything like Kirlia or Gardevoir, or like there's a Bibarel and a Pidgeot that a lot of decks play to keep access to stuff after Iono. All they have are these like little squibbly comfies, and then if they're playing the Greninja, sometimes they have that left over as far as card advantage after they get riggedy wrecked by Iono. What? New technology? Let me look at this. Stack does 20 less damage for each damage counter. So this is 240? I've never seen a Lost Box play that before. That's interesting. So they're running Grass and Fire so that they can hit for 240 with the Regidrago. Huh. But it's not like that knocks anything out. Well, I mean, like, it would knock out Cresselia or Gardevoir, but it's not going to knock out my Gardevoir EX for double prizes. Excuse me. Interesting. There's the switch card. Not switching to the Regidrago. I wonder if they're going to pull off something weird and knock out my Gardevoir somehow. The EX. I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter to them so much if they hit Cresselia or Gardevoir. So I don't know if they're going to bother bossing anything. There's the Charizard. Say this is the one where, so it's a Radiant Charizard, so that's how we know they don't have Greninja, but its attacks cost 1 colorless less for each prize card the opponent is taken. So I'm the opponent. So right now this costs a fire and a colorless, and if I take one more prize, it just costs a fire. Did I ever, so yeah, my my Turo is still in my deck. If they did manage to like deal this big wombo damage to my Gardevoir, as far as like bouncing it back to my hand so they don't get the 2 prizes. Oh, this is interesting. They might be able to pull it out because they've been ahead on the prize trade this whole time. Maybe not discarding my Gardevoir was a big misplay. Maybe it was a big old misplay. I could start attacking with this instead, because I don't think they can knock it out in one hit. They'd have to boss's orders around it. We'll see if we can't like give ourselves a little breathing room that way. Get that, and that, I guess. Do this. Sick. Alright, I didn't have to attach any stuff to that. I will discard those 2. for that. And Rare Candy. And we'll Iono. There's our Turo. Perfect. So yeah, I will go ahead and knock that out. And so ideally what's going to happen is they're going to try to two-shot this, and I'll just Turo it. And that will then put us ahead in the prize trade, but we'll see. Like, already because they have that Regidrago, I don't know what's going on with this deck. All right, so they're not even going to risk not having the switch. Also, my friend here is currently dealing 120 damage, so I need 2 more Psychic Energy to be able to knock that out. So I will have to replay Gardevoir if I Turo. I think the only way they win here is if they have a boss's orders to be able to knock something out on my bench. If they don't take a prize this turn, I think we got it. Yep. Sick. Sick. So I'll Turo to return my damaged Gardevoir back to my hand. We'll go ahead and Rare Candy back on the field there. And yeah, so put 2 active, which means they can knock it out. But I don't think they can knock out 2 things. Unless they have some kind of sneaky trick up their sleeve that I'm not aware of. Alright. Boop. There's the Cramorant. They get a prize, good for them. And then we come up with either of our Guardies and we take it. Good deal. Good deal. By the way, in Hearthstone, Osric says, break yourself upon my body, right? I named my Skarmory in Showdown Osric, and it gave it Rocky Helmet, so it chunks things that attack it. That's priceless. Good job. That's a good name for it. It does say that. That is the famous Osric line. Boop. Goodbye, Cramorant. And just like that, don't be mad you lost. Be happy that I won. Huzzah. It's Ziggy time. We get to go first, which is great. We want to get our Ralts on the board as fast as possible. And we started with the Mew active and a VIP pass in hand. I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased. The only thing that could go wrong is if this is an obnoxious opponent, but it isn't. It is Charizard EX. That is fine. Charizard EX, so it's a Terra Pokemon, so they have different types than usual. So it's a dark type instead of a fire type, which is unfortunate because Gardevoir is weak to dark, which means it takes double damage from dark types. Also, like, I've been playing with this Pokemon for like half a year or more, and I just now noticed that it has resistance. I like never notice resistance anymore because almost no Pokemon have resistance. They've like soft discontinued it, so it takes 30 less damage from fighting types. But yeah, so I'll put that out. I don't even know what else I want. I guess that. Already, like, we're already vibing. So it used to be that my, I'll take the Rare Candy. Like, VIP Pass is the nuts off of Mew, but like, we drew all the Pokemon we need. We don't need VIP Pass anymore. It used to be that you would never want to bench the Radiant Greninja against Charizard because they would run that Mawile that, makes your opponent stay active, and then they would just like bosses orders this up and then get it stuck there. and just leave you to draw out your whole deck and be sad. I'm going to leave this in my hand to be able to Greninja next turn. But now that Professor Turo came out in the most recent set, you can just bop it back to your hand and not worry about it. I bet they don't even run the Mawile anymore. There are less than 0 fighting Pokemon in the meta, so it doesn't come up. It's true. So what my opponent's deck does is the Pidgeot EX that this evolves into. Once per turn, it can search your deck for any card. And the Charizard is just like absurdly broken, stupid, powerful. I guess my plan is to Rare Candy to Gardevoir EX and start attacking this turn. 1 second, I'll resume describing my opponent's deck momentarily. They have 2 of each out, which is unfortunate. Otherwise, I could kind of mess them up a little bit. Yeah, we'll get the Gardevoir out. Get a Kirlia. This game is going really well. This game is going really well. I'm pleased. Battle VIP Pass no longer works because it is not our first turn, so we just discard that. And maybe I'll do this. Get another Kirlia. Thing is, though, I don't know that I super want to discard anything. Maybe I'll discard the Iono. I could also use it. I didn't play anything, though. That makes me think their hand is mid. So yeah, maybe I will discard the Iono. Okay. So I'll retreat. And send up my friend Screamtail. And we'll put a couple energies on that. And be pleased. So ideally they wouldn't have 2 Pidgeys out, and I could knock one out and it would really slow them down. But they did get 2 Pidgeys out, so they could get out of the Pidgeot, and that would be unfortunate. But okay, so the Charizard is absolutely ridiculous. So it's got 330 health, which is huge. Its ability lets you search your deck for 3 fire energy and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like when you evolve into it. And it only requires 2 energy to use its attack. So like you Rare Candy into it, power it up completely, and then you get a bonus energy to attach somewhere else. And the attack does 2 for 180. And then it does 30 more for each prize card your opponent has taken. So they're going to deal 210 when they attack with the Charizard. And what's gross about the Pidgeot is because the Charizard have so much HP and they power themselves up, that you can basically just keep using Pidgeot to search your deck for bosses orders and keep picking specifically which Pokemon you want to knock out. It's really annoying. Oh, interesting. All right, so they use Lost City so that I can't like recur important Pokemon. So just whenever you knock out a Pokemon, it's put into the Lost Zone instead of the discard pile. The attached energies still go to the discard pile, so it's not like a complete disaster, but I would have liked to maybe attack with that Screamtail again, so it's a little unfortunate. All right, so there's my luxurious cape. I currently have 4 energy, and I need, I think I need 9 energy on a Pokemon. Yeah, I need 9 energy on a Pokemon in order to knock that out. And because I'm not behind on prizes, I'm also like, I can't use my reversals to make up the difference. There's a good chance I'm going to end up just kind of retreating that Gardevoir, but also we might be in a tough spot. Kind of want most everything in my hands. Since I have the Pal Pad, I'll toss the Turo. I don't think that they would or should run the Mawile anymore. I probably won't need it. So there's the reversal energy. Guess I'm doing this. All right. I will use, oh, you know what? I'm actually in a tough spot if I'm actually in a tough spot if they, that's actually so brutal. I might have made a mistake already. Because Because, like, I won't have a Gardevoir next turn to power up my stuff. If they bosses orders this up and knock it out, there's no way I can get out another one. So I guess I'm gonna start powering up this Gardevoir here. And then just hope that I can get there with things. Alright, so I'm gonna knock out the Charmander with Cresselia, so it takes 20 damage from each of my damaged Pokemon and moves them to one of my opponent's Pokemon. And so either they bosses orders up Gardevoir EX and take 2 prizes, which puts me behind on prizes and activates reversal energy, or they bosses orders up my Gardevoir that has energies on it, in which case I can just try to power up the other one. That was Avery. They draw 3 cards. It's a supporter. And I had to discard down to 3 guys, which is totally fine. I had 2 things that I didn't care about. Level Ball is a nice item that I've been using too. You search your deck for a Pokemon with 90 HP or less, so it's good for getting like Ralts or Charmander. And really nice in this deck because it also gets Kirlia. So now we find out if they're going to attack my Gardevoir EX or my regular Gardevoir. It might be a little tricky to get the counter knockout if they go for the Gardevoir EX, but hopefully it'll be okay. Oh, they used Avery. They can't actually do it. All right. It never even occurred to me that they wouldn't bosses orders that turn. Interesting. So now I'm not behind on prizes, but let's see. What's my energy count in the discard pile? I have 1. So it's still gonna be tough to get a knockout. I might just end up bosses ordering up the Charmander again, but that's not ideal. Ideally, I would knock out one of these 2. So let's see what I can find here. So far, so bad. Like, I don't know why in this game it makes you do this phase first. Like, in the other one, you get to look at the top 2. You don't look at one and then look at the other. You know what I mean? So, like, I should have more information. I should know what the other card is before I get to this point. I guess I'll put it here. There's Iono, so we could put him to 4. Do I like that? Probably. Did I make a Marshy Doo-Doo? No, there's no Ralts in the discard pile yet. So the last Ralts is in the prizes, which is unfortunate. Comparing to Hearthstone, how do you find this client? I mean, it's not as good. I feel like there's a lot of animations that I'd like sped up a bit. Like, games last so much longer than they did on the old version of this client. So that's like number 1. I do think that, like, you know, the fancy cards, like the effects to kind of make them look like they do on the effects to make them look like they do in person just kind of make them hard to read. It's like the waves and stuff like that. I don't know if there's a way to like shut all the premium like foil animations off, but I'd like to like not see any of them. And I feel like the biggest room for improvement as far as client is in the collection system. Like I shouldn't have to remove versions of cards from my deck to add the newer version. I feel like it should be I would have to pull it up to like go into detail about it, I guess. If you copy a deck from the internet into your client, the process by which you take the version of the card you want to look at and sub those in for the one that it defaults to is incredibly obnoxious. All right, so I have 6 here. This is a bit of a toughie. Let's get out those. I don't think I want any of the rest of that. Maybe I want that. I don't know. So I'll go get the Ralts. We'll put that on the bench. And then I guess I'll get the Curly out of my deck so I don't draw it. That needs to go here. This is already knocking out that, right? Because we're behind on prizes. All right, sick. We've done all we can. So this is gonna have to be like a Rare Candy into Gardevoir EX into knock something out. Ooh, we got the reversal energy. That's perfect. So if they Iono us, it's a bit of a problem, but if not, like having this already is a huge boost. It means we don't have to find that. We do have to find a Rare Candy. How many have I used already? Only one. I think the most devastating thing they could do here is Iono me. Oh, they're running that thing. So that's like a Snorlax tech, the card that they just searched for. It's I think it's either when you play it out from your hand onto your bench or when you attach an energy to it. It can go from your bench to the active spot, and then its attack is for 1 energy. It does 20 damage times the amount of energy in your opponent's retreat cost. So retreat, the retreat tells you how much you need to discard from your active Pokemon to be able to send it to the bench. So like it's a way to get something into the active position because the Snorlax doesn't let you retreat, and then it does. I think the Snorlax has 4 energy in its retreat costs, so it would deal 1 for 80 doubled because it's weak to fighting. You can knock out the Snorlax that way. Is the goal of that. So now we need to get Rare Candy. There are 2 left in the deck. There it is. Now, do we have the energy? We don't. Right, I do because I can gust up the Pidgeot. All right, I didn't have enough to knock out the Charizard, but I do have enough. It only takes 8 energy to knock out Pidgeot. It takes 9 to knock out Charizard. That's the math. So it does 30 damage times the amount of psychic energy on it plus 60. So 240 plus 60 is 300. It's enough to knock out the Pidgeot. But yeah, that was a good game, huh? Nail biter, very scary, very scary. This is the best part of the client right here. The phone having to see this every time they lose. All right. I missed it. I bet I'm going second. But here's a Mew. Mew isn't too bad. Samurott. We found the off-meta spice. I actually forget what the Samurott V-Star does. Okay. Let's find a VIP pass. Nice. So good at this game. So good at this game. Use the Greninja to... Alright, I was gonna go get a Ralts with this, but now I'm not. We'll save it for a Kirlia for next turn. Alright. Yeah, it's like too dark for like 110, and then its V-Star ability is something good, I don't know. I think it does bonus damage if it or if the defending Pokemon has any damage counters on it. Something like that. This makes me think it's the defending Pokemon. Where is it? Where's your Samurott V-Star? I only know what it does because I pulled one when I was opening a box. I don't think I've ever seen it in game. Ooh, there it is. Yeah, the fancy version of it. Let me read it. So yeah, if your opponent's active Pokemon already has any damage counters on it, it does 110 more. So it does 220 for 2, which is like not bad. It's not great either. And then its ability, it's a V-Star ability, so you can't use it more than once per game. During your turn, you may put 4 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. So that's how they're gonna ruin me or something. Also, are they planning to just knock out my Mew with these Iron Valiants? Because that's cheating. I don't know how I feel about cheating, other than that it sickens me. Oh, okay. I can't believe that we got to a place that 220 for 2 is mad. I know, right? It's actually just crazy, the power creep in Pokemon. There is no game out there that has the power creep that this game has. It's actually crazy. And my opponent just like continues to cheat over and over and over again. Absolutely revolting. This deck is looking a lot spicier than I gave it credit for. I would love for this to be good. I wonder if people are like just only now starting to experiment with the Iron Valiant. So I'm seeing a lot of like Iron Valiant stuff. Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't even think Yu-Gi-Oh! Compares. Like, it just like it's very direct. Like they just end up putting more numbers on things every generation like crazy. So I'm gonna do that. Barkley just fetched with himself. He threw the ball and then went for it. That's so funny. Barkley, you're so cute and silly. You're so cute and silly, Barkley. Aren't you so cute and silly? Aren't you so cute and silly? Yeah, he knows he's cute and silly. Huh, good doggy. Who's a good doggy? Chat, I think I lose. My opponent's deck is cool, but I think I lose. So I get the Gardevoir. Rare Candy. Why you play fetch with yourself? That's so funny. I remember back when 220 HP was considered a lot. Yeah, 220 HP on a basic was like... I remember when the Zygarde came out and it had... Hi, you're so cute. When the Zygarde came out and it had... I guess I'm going to put out this Greninja as a sacrifice. So I'll go ahead and do that now before the Ralts has extra health. Or extra retreat cost. The Kirlia has too. The Zygarde came out, the Zygarde EX came out. And it had 190 HP as a basic, and I was like, whoa, 190 HP? They've never had that before. And now they all have like 220, 230, 240. It's nuts. Isn't it nuts, Barkley? He left. Goodbye, Barkley. Barkley, come on. Come here, Barkley. We give it to me. I'll throw it. Give it to me. Bring it in. But yeah, like all these HPs are so bloated. They just keep cramming them on there. Huh, Barkley? Don't they just keep cramming them on there? I don't want to choose a bench Pokemon to switch. I guess you can have that one. I guess. I think I super lose. Man, this is just kind of like, this is too quick for me. Also, if they gust up the Gardevoir and hit it with the Samurott, I will. If this deck is good, I'm building it. I think the Samurott's cool, and I have some. Alright, Gardevoir EX lives, so I'll give this another chance, I guess. 270. Where is my baby Gardevoir? Where is it? Where's baby Gardevoir? There's baby Gardevoir. All right. Are we finally in business? Do we win after all these years? Have I lost 2 Ralts to the discard pile? So lame. I need a super rod. Okay, so I have 4 energy in the discard pile. 4, 5. It's knockout, right? Yeah. All right. Sick. We're back in it. And just like that, we're back in it. Except that they get to knock this out for free. They just get to do it when they send up the Iron Valiant. Ugh. I guess. I don't know. How do I win in this game? They might run out of steam. They might run out of steam. That's my only hope. So like they could or do you mean in this game generally? So I have each player puts out 6 prizes. When you knock out one of your opponent's Pokemon, you take a prize. When you run out, when you've taken all your prizes, you win. What's the whole gameplay of this deck of mine? I get out Gardevoir EX, and then I can attach Psychic Energies from my discard pile to my Psychic Pokemon, and use their attacks that way. Bless you. Guess this one. So, currently hoping that my opponent is out of gas. I only need to take some prizes. My goodness, not having a super rod here is so brutal. But yeah, we're not that out of it. If I can get another super rod, I'll be much more. Another super rod. If we can get a super rod, I'll be much more optimistic. But yeah, so I'll put a Psychic Embrace on this Cresselia, and we'll move the 60 damage off here onto. I don't even know how much it matters. I guess this one is easy to knock out, so I guess we'll go for the V-Star. If they take another prize, I think it's going to be really hard to close out this game. You know, maybe I should have put the 60 damage here, because then Gardevoir EX could have done the knockout. If that's a switch, disaster. What tool would they want in this spot? Huh. Oh, does that just give them free retreat cost? The future Pokemon do 20 more damage to the opponent's active Pokemon. This has 2 retreat cost. How did they go to the bench? Wait, how did they retreat? I'm actually just so bamboozled right now. What am I missing? Oh, it has no retreat cost and it's attacked. Okay. I wasn't missing anything. I was unfortunate. So what I need is Scream Tail. That's the only way I do this. Alright. Let's go Scream Tail. Please. Alright, sick. Do I have enough? So let's see. They're at 210. If it's 40 damage per energy, I need 6 energy, right? 6 times 4 is 240. Yeah. So I need to put the cape on. My opponent's deck is so cool. Yeah, we put the fancy cape on, gives it 100 more HP, but makes it worth 1 more prize. But the 100 more HP raises the cap, right? Because so I can like attach more energies to it without it knocking out. And then I guess I'm a little worried about them being able to use some item to ruin me, but probably should end up being fine. I don't think, like, they have so few cards in their hand, right? I feel like it's gonna be really hard for them to take these last 2 prizes. Or last 1 prize, rather. It would have to be like, yeah, I don't know how they could do it. I have no idea how they could do it. Yep, looks like they can't. Looks like they can't. Oh no! Wait, no! What if I did upset? No! Oh, that's brutal. They took the item that was giving it HP off of my Pokemon. No! Oh, brutal. That was a GG though. The opponent has a stick deck. Are you planning to going any regionals soon? I just went to Sacramento regionals recently. I brought a version of this deck. The next one that I plan on going to is Los Angeles in May. I don't really travel for regionals much, but I'll go to the California ones lately. This hand was pretty good, and then it didn't have a basic, so it's bad. But this would have been pretty sweet. Ooh, all right, sick. You go to any cups or just big regionals? I have not gone to a cup in so long. The only cups I played in were day 2 of regionals for the last, like, you know, forever. But I just went to a cup this last weekend. I'm trying to get back into it. Part of it is like, I don't really like to go by myself. I just got my friends to like want to play again. So now I have companionship for the cups that I didn't before. Well, I don't need, well, I don't think I need another Rare Candy as much as I need a Level Ball. I can do this to get another Ralts, but then, depending on what type of Lost Box is, I'll get either a Manaphy or a Jirachi with the other one. Understandable tournaments are all about friends to hang out with. Yeah, it definitely makes better. I used to go to like they were called city challenges back in my day, but when I would grow up, my friends and I would go like to all the city championships like all the time. Good times, good times. So this is Giratina and they have the Greninja, so I do need I could, it's unlikely, but I could get absolutely destroyed this turn. This is the type of Lost Box where we need to get the Manaphy out. Because if I don't have the Manaphy, the Greninja can use this attack here, discard 2 energy from this Pokemon to do 90 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. And just obliterate my Ralts and or Kirlia on the bench and make me really sad. But yeah, see, they have the water energy. But they need 7 cards in the Lost Zone to be able to do that. And that requires an extreme high roll to do on the first turn, so it should be okay. Think this is first time catching streams and love the YouTubes. I've been playing since Neo era competitively, so I know all about them and love to see someone playing Hearthstone and Pokemon. Hey, cool, nice. Are you do you have a favorite time in Pokemon? Like, what was your favorite meta ever? Alright, sick. We're just gonna lose the Mew here. Sick, yeah. Okay, Meta Knight is definitely one of my favorite favorite decks out ever. The Meta Knight deck had it was from Delta Species. So the Delta Species, they all the types were all messed up. The Metagross and the Dragonite were both lightning metal. And one moment, please. I guess I'll just do this, right? Maybe I should have tried for an Iono. I'm gonna say I really want a Rare Candy. I'm gonna go all in on this Rare Candy right now. You guys don't even know. You guys don't even know. But yeah, I do need the Manaphy or else that Greninja is gonna wreck me. Did not get one, unlucky. So they could still Sableye me because I didn't get the Jirachi out, which is unfortunate. But maybe I'll like do that. Try to keep my Ralts around. And we'll send up that. Probably should have put it on the Kirlia now that I think about it. But anyways, so yeah, the Meta Knight, it was Lightning, Metagross, and Dragonite, so Meta Knight. The Metagross, they were each Lightning and Metal. The Metagross had a Lightning and a colorless for, I think it was 10 plus 30 for each Lightning you would discard, for each energy you would discard from your side. Oh man, it's been a long time. I don't even remember the exact details of the attack. But the more energy you discarded from your side of the field, the more damage it would do. And the Dragonite would let you put lightning energy from your discard pile to your benched Pokemon. So you would just you get the 2 of them out and pile energies with the Dragonite and deal a bunch of bonus damage with the Metagross. It was good times. So that was probably the deck I played by far the most back then. I really loved that deck. That speaks to me. That's one of your favorite. And but yeah, so just the 2004 to so like just Ruby Sapphire to Heart Gold Soul Silver, I consider to be the golden age of Pokemon. Probably peaking in the Delta Species era when that was like current, and then slowly fading off throughout Diamond and Pearl until Black and White when it was still fun but different. Those was my favorite time period. I love that. It was like congratulations on winning your regionals. I've never won one. I've got a bunch of top 4s, but I've never won one. I figured I was going with that. But yeah, it was a good time. Good times. My opponent's hand is so big. I wish I had an Iono. I wish I had an Iono. Oh, nice. Well done. I did get top 4. One of my top 4s was out of regionals back then with like a super homebrew deck. It was the Salomon CX that had your non-EX Pokemon had free retreat cost was its Pokebody, and then it had a fire and a water and 2 colorless for 120, and you had to discard 2 energy to use the attack. There was an Altaria EX that lets you power up, like put basic energies on your stage 2 Pokemon. I think that's how it worked. And I used boost energy to manually attach. So I would like, this is why the worker is in here, by the way, specifically for Path to Peak. So Path to Peak turns off abilities for Rollbox Pokemon. So the Gardevoir can't actually attach any energies while the Path to Peak is up. So the worker is just like a good way to be able to deal with that. But so yeah, I was using boost energy for my for the 2 colorless requirement. Boost energy can only be attached to evolutions, and it goes away at the end of the turn, but it's worth 3 colorless energy, which is more than is needed for the attack because it can only count towards the 2 colorless. But it is also 2 energies to be discarded for the discard 2 energy requirement. So you would get the fire and the water on by the Altaria, and then just attach boost energy every turn to be able to do the 120. I got a top 4 at they were called gym challenges at the time, but I got top 4 at a regionals with a completely original deck. It was pretty sick. All right, did not get a rare candy. I guess I want to be doing this. And I guess I'll be knocking out something, but I have to attach this, which is an enormous bummer. And then I have 3 psychic in the discard pile, which should be fine. So I'll have, that's 80, right? Yeah. So I can use those. Oh, I still don't have the Jirachi up. This is gonna be a disaster. Oh my goodness. I didn't even, I got so hyped talking about got so hyped talking about Pokemon of old, I forgot to work on getting my Jirachi on the bench. Oh no. Let's see if I can get Collapsed Stadium. I can still do it. Oh, I'm broken at this game. All right, so now I can just get rid of this. No, I can't do it. I can't do it. I take it back. I would have had to play Collapsed Stadium and then remove it with the worker. All right, at least I didn't make a boo-boo. Do I still want to play Collapsed Stadium though? I don't think so. A card that I want to fit in here is Lost Vacuum, which lets you get rid of a stadium in play. So that would have been nice for comboing with that. But now we can just get rid of this Sableye. So I have to find a new one. Crystal Shard was one of the coolest. Crystal Shard was a tool card that the Pokemon it was attached to became colorless, and then it was like discarded when it was attacked. But Dragon didn't have its own type back then. All Dragon Pokemon were colorless. So whenever a Dragon Pokemon was relevant, you could just run a Crystal Shard in your deck and be able to hit it for weakness. It was pretty sick. New client isn't great, but hated the trade meta on PTCGO. You have my exact feelings, SMF. My identical feelings on the issue. That is exactly how I feel about it. So after adding all these tokens, you just bonk them to death? That's what I do, yeah. Hey Marshy, I haven't played PTCG in so long. I cannot stand the new client. Yeah, the new client is mid. It's pretty awful. Trade meta was really stupid. Could never get the tropical beaches I needed, but man, everything else was great. Yeah. I completely, absolutely, 1000% mirror your thoughts. The old PTCGO client was just like, I don't know. In addition to it just functioning better than this client, I'm so nostalgic for it. I like really miss it. This client has its upsides, but it's just overall vaguely clunkier. You miss the chat function on PTO? I don't. All right, so PTCGO, when it first came out, PTCGO came out before Hearthstone, and then it kind of changed to the emote system after Hearthstone came out and was successful. But it used to just let you talk to your opponent in client, and so your opponent would just be sitting there mauling at you about how they were losing or whatever, and really annoyed. I don't know why they didn't want to knock this out. Oh, they probably didn't want to activate my reversal energies, so that's a good play, I suppose. I don't know what I want to do here. I'm not like set up to be able to knock that out. And my Cresselia, I guess what I want to do is, I suppose I've taken too long a couple too many times. Sure, we'll get rid of the Greninja now. I had to get rid of the Path to Peak in order to use abilities. The more you go to the timer, the more likely they are to make you skip your turn. Like the timer shows up faster if you've been taking too much time. Which I think is a good feature. It's just like it doesn't showcase it well enough in this game, so like sometimes when I play with my dad, he like accidentally skips his turn because it's so subtle and he's not as used to it as I am. It's a huge bummer. Wish it didn't work like that. But yeah, so my big plan, ooh, should I get rid of the Cramorant? Yeah. I like the idea of taking more prizes. Because, like, pretty soon I will be able to knock out that Giratina in one hit. So, like, doing the chip damage doesn't matter too much. My favorite decks are mill/stall decks, and I don't think Expanded is in the new client, right? Yeah, Expanded not being in the new client is horrible. I mostly play Expanded. Like, just like in Hearthstone, where I mostly play Wild. In Pokemon, I'm like a much bigger fan of Expanded than I am of Standard. And not being able to like brew my stupid decks has been unfortunate. But there's a mill/stall deck that's good in Standard right now. The Snorlax deck is good. Like that's very playable. I remember in a YouTube video, your dad ran a lot of tournaments. Was he a PTO back in the day? Yep. Do you know Bulbasaur? My dad's Bulbasaur. I played PTCG first and only played Expanded so far. My first few years of Hearthstone, I only played Wild. You know the name from Pokegym, but you're on the East Coast? Okay, fair enough, yeah. Yep. Yeah, if you're on the East Coast, you probably would have seen him only at regionals or worlds. He used to do a lot of traveling for that. He's been to most of the worlds. I think he's missed like 2 since 2004. And he used to go to regionals to judge and stuff sometimes. Mill and Snorlax, you might have to come back. Nice. I cannot function if VS Seeker is not in your deck. All right, that's so relatable. So relatable. I miss, oh, okay, so this thing has an attack. Its V-Star attack is if you have 10 or more cards in the lost zone, your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out. So they just got to take 2 prizes for free there. But, well, you know what? That's actually vaguely a disaster because I'm not set up to come up with another Gardevoir EX yet. I might be in trouble. That's what I get for being distracted. Send that up for now. I have 6 energies on and none in the discard pile. So that means there's 4 more psychic in my deck. Let me do this. Just see how many of them are actually in there. So I'll probably pull that Ralts out. And by probably, I mean certainly. So there are 2 more psychic. Can I knock them out if I get both of them off of these? So that would be 4 for my friend here and 3. So 7... 210 and 60 is 270. That's 1 off. Unlucky. Poop. That'll teach me to something. So I guess ideally I would Iono this turn. And this is going to be one of those games where some stuff happens. Not 100% sure what I'm supposed to do. Other than maybe get out another... I did get both of them. I really like wasted all my luck here on a situation where it can't possibly work out for me. So brutal. Okay, I guess this one. Do that. And then... Boop, boop, boop. How many rare candies have I used already? I still have 2. Alright, I'll get this instead then. And then I will get that Ralts, because if I can't get out another Gardevoir EX, I am toast. And then I will Iono, hopefully disrupting whatever their plan was. And do that, I guess. This game evolved since you last played. Yeah, it's like every time a new generation comes out, they just like add a bunch of numbers to all of the add a bunch of numbers to all of the cards, so everything's HP bloat is like out of this world. All right, opponent has the Mirage Gate. They have a powered up Greninja, but we have the Manaphy, so it's not like they can take prizes that way for now. There's an item that like turns off abilities of your opponent's active Pokemon for the turn. So they could boss's orders up my Manaphy, play that item, and then knock out 2 Ralts that way, but I don't expect them to. It's like, it's a pretty niche situation for that, and it's better just to focus on consistency, I would think. Full art trainers are still the most beautiful things ever. Signature cards can never, yeah, for sure. Do they have it? Are they about to do it? That'd be hilarious. I almost want it to happen. Tell me they didn't forgore. Oh, that scared me for a second. I was like, wait, I have the Manaphy, didn't I? But then like the damage went away. They forgot. Oh, they forgot. Oh, as an opponent fan, you hate to see it. All right, that's huge for us though. We'll go get this. They forgot about the Manaphy. So the Manaphy prevents all damage done to your benched Pokemon. So we're in business. We're in business. Making me wish I had those Kirlia now. Well, that's a bummer. Oh, they just left. Don't be mad you lost. Be happy I won. I know I am.